What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first horror movie review here on the Movie Mosh Pit channel. My name is Robbie, and I just want to thank you guys for dropping in to check out my review of director James DeMonaco's brand new horror movie, The Home, starring none other than Pete Davidson in his debut role as a bona fide Scream King. Now, I know a lot of people out there don't really care for Pete Davidson and his brand of comedy, and that especially appears to be more evident based on the fact that I haven't seen a single one of the major movie reviewers I watch here on YouTube say anything about this movie. Well, save for Cody Leach, who mentioned it on his July movie ranking video, but I haven't watched that one yet, so I'm not even sure what he had to say about it. Either way, I'm really surprised because not only is this a horror movie, which those channels primarily cover, but it's also coming from the guy who directed like all of, or at least like the majority of the Purge movies. So you'd think the fact that it's got an A-list actor at the helm, is in their frequently covered genre, and was directed by the guy who did the Purge movies, it would be enough to get a review out of these guys. But I guess for whatever reason, they all just happen to miss it. And if it's because they don't like the guy, well, that's not me. I don't fall into the class of Pete Davidson haters. I actually enjoyed him on SNL, and I've seen him do stand-up live, and it was fucking awesome. And just from listening to him in interviews, he seems like a pretty chill, down-to-earth dude. So when I saw that this new horror movie was coming out and he was gonna be the lead, I was pretty stoked. But anyways, the movie starts off a decade in the past, and we're introduced to this little kid named Max, who's gonna grow up to be Pete Davidson's character in the future, and also Max's brother as well. Both of the boys are living with a foster family, but the brother is about to be heading off to college and leaving Max all alone. Then, shortly after his arrival in college, the family is notified that Max's brother has unfortunately killed himself. This news sends Max into a lifelong spiral of detachment and antisocial behavior, and then when we meet him a decade in the future, he's being arrested for vandalizing a building by making a big-ass graffiti mural. And the judge is pretty much ready to throw the book at him to get him off the streets for a long time. But Max's dad is somehow able to pull some strings with the judge and secure him a community service deal instead. So for the next few months, instead of rotting away in a jail cell, Max will serve as the new superintendent of a very eerie and secluded retirement facility. And as he arrives and gets acclimated to his new home, he quickly discovers there's something far more devious going on inside these walls than just a little bit of cheating at the Saturday night bingo game. So I feel like right from the jump, this movie does not waste any time setting its tone. Just because you've got Pete Davidson's face up there on the screen does not mean you should be expecting a bunch of laughs or a bunch of comedic relief. And I actually think it starts off so dark and heavy intentionally in order to dispel some of those expectations and show you that you're in for a serious horror movie. I mean, we're out here in what appears to be the middle of nowhere at this creepy ass old and menacing brick building, and I think it's supposed to be like fall or winterish or something like that because the trees surrounding the place are all dead and lifeless. And then add that onto a very tense introduction to his new, I guess you could call them like managers or co-workers.
You saw how clean this place was coming in?
Yes, sir.
Your job is to keep it that way.
And you can start to notice that you're getting a little stiff in your seat there, that your jaw is a little tighter than you intended it to be. And you gotta hit a quick little massage, some circular motions, before you can finally settle down a little and open up wide enough to shovel in another handful of the goobers and popcorn mixture that you've concocted for yourself. Oh, daddy! Don't even get me started on goobers right now. Sorry. But anyways, that's just the beginning. As we get deeper into this movie, things really start to get unsettling. And I will say, there were a few attempts at some jump scares, maybe like one or two, and I didn't really find them to be all that effective. But what did work for me though, were the multiple sequences of such visceral and disturbing imagery. I mean, there are some straight up creepy scenes in this movie. Max finds himself in some seriously messed up situations, facing some really freaky things in a very up close and personal type of way. And in those moments, I think the prosthetics were done really well. When things got bloody, I thought it looked really believable. And I really liked the use of different color filters to make certain areas of the home feel more eerie and disturbing. I also really enjoyed the performances all around. I'm seeing a lot of people criticizing Pete's performance as being lifeless and dull or lacking emotion, but that's not something I noticed at all. And if you consider the character that Davidson is playing here, a guy who, before arriving at the home to take on this community service job, was this kind of like stoic, antisocial, presumed loner that had been living the past decade in a state of unresolved trauma due to the tragic death of his brother. So I think it makes a lot of sense why he might be desensitized towards certain things, or might not instantly catch on to cues of things being off directly when he gets there. But I think as the movie goes on and he becomes more interested in the plight of these residents, and as he becomes more determined to help them, I think his emotional performance definitely elevates. Now, I'm not saying he put on the performance of a lifetime here or anything like that.
Fuck you, you piece of shit.
But I definitely don't think it was as bad as people are making it out to be. And especially considering this is his first time starring in a horror role, I think he did just fine. And it makes me wonder how much of that criticism is actually genuine and constructive, and how much of it is just Pete Davidson hate, because I'm thinking it's probably a lot of the latter. But aside from Pete's performance, the supporting cast did absolutely incredible work. John Glover, who's somebody I didn't recognize, but I guess is a pretty well-known like villain type actor, played a beautifully whimsical like art teacher or therapist or something like that. And his character was a former actor. So sometimes he'd shift into these like thespian type line deliveries that were comically dramatic and also lighthearted. And it's funny. I think he actually cut the tension through like brief comedic moments way more than Pete Davidson's character even did. But it wasn't like to the point where it shifted away from the movie's like overarching darker tone or anything like that. I feel like they really didn't overdo it in that aspect at all. There's also this like sweet old lady resident that he befriends, and I think their interactions together are super wholesome. And I think that really gave Pete Davidson's character a reason to care about uncovering the truth about what was going on with these people and what was actually happening behind the scenes at this facility. And also, for specific reasons that I cannot get into without spoiling the plot, pretty much everybody in the cast showed a wide range of acting ability. They'd be taking on certain traits at some points in the film and entirely different ones at other points. And I feel like in all of the aspects, they were completely believable. But speaking of the plot, there are actually two significant twists that happen in the third act of the film. One of which I was halfway considering, but I wasn't entirely sure. And the other was completely unexpected. I think so much so that unless if I missed something glaringly obvious, it literally could not have been guessed no matter what. I mean, I don't recall seeing a single clue or hint that things would be going in this direction. I was legitimately stunned. My girlfriend even let out an audible
"Shut up!"
right next to me. It was hilarious. Because as things were playing out and as we were approaching the climax, I totally saw this movie going in a different direction. And I thought it could have worked decently going in that direction. But if it would have gone that way, I don't think I would have been very surprised at all. And I actually think I probably would have felt pretty underwhelmed. And I probably wouldn't have had such a positive review of this movie. But the fact that they took my brain straight out of my skull, blended it up with some oranges and broccoli sprouts in a magic bullet, and then poured it back inside of my head through my ear hole, yeah, that had me pretty friggin' juiced up. But I mean, if you really want to see what it's like to be juiced up, oh baby, just wait until that climax hits.
What the hell did you just say?
We see Pete pumped up like never before. Here comes Davidson rising to the occasion like a fucking phoenix. 10,000 cc's of new life delivered straight into the face hole. The scale of justice plunged deep down into the bowels of Hades. A train so viciously barreling towards its objective that not even the good Lord could stop it from reaching the station. And I don't even know how it made it there. Cause let me tell you something. Our boy goes straight off the motherfucking rails with this one. Oh, goddamn. Sorry, y'all. Got me feeling like Kendrick Lamar over here talking about I need some water. Something came over me. Like, look, when I tell you guys, I was sitting with my bony little ass cheeks on the edge of that theater recliner, barely hanging on by the little button thingy on the back of my jeans, ready to hop onto my feet with the spirit of Shia LaBeouf coursing through my veins and clap until my goddamn fingers fell off. That is no exaggeration. This was one of the most wildly cathartic and definitively triumphant movie moments I've seen all fucking year. And for the story that we got, I could not have wished for a better ending. So I'm sure it's pretty easy to tell I really enjoyed this movie. And aside from a few extremely minor nitpicks with some unimportant story details and some questionable directing choices, I really had no complaints with this movie at all. It fell right under 5 stars for me and came in at a 4.8. And I know, everybody is pretty much shit on this movie. I mean, even though I didn't really see any of my favorite reviewers talking about it, I have read a few articles and seen some written reviews just by random people. And from a critical standpoint, this movie seems to be so universally hated. So maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. But hey, at least I'm an idiot who doesn't feel like my 90 minutes was wasted. So who's the real fucking idiot here, huh? Huh? That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I thought The Home was a surprisingly original story with some genuinely creepy vibes and disturbing scenes. It had some brutal special effects and a pair of twists that you would never see coming. And they not only made the story so much stronger, but also lead into one of the most absurdly fun movie moments that I've had in a theater, and I can't even remember how long. And I know I'm getting this review out pretty late after release, but hey, it's my first video, so fucking sue me, would ya? But if The Home is still in theaters where you live when you're watching this video, definitely head over and check this one out. And if it ain't there anymore, stream this shit the night it drops wherever it drops. Because I'm telling you, if you can get past your Pete Davidson snobbery, I think you're gonna have a really fun time with this one. But alright guys, that is going to do it for my review of The Home. I hope you guys got some value out of this and found my takes to be at best insightful and at worst at least a little entertaining, because there's going to be a lot more reviews and fun stuff coming up here on this channel. So if you enjoyed yourself here today, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below with your thoughts on the movie, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some polarizing takes down there, and I cannot wait to talk about this with you guys. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next review.